Hare Krishna. Welcome back if you are watching. So this is the first video of the actual talks or classes or meditations that we're going to start posting on this channel every now and then. And I was thinking which topic to talk about or meditate upon. And since this is the Mridanga Circle, we might as well start with something Mridanga related. So I thought, why not just do something simple? So today we're going to meditate upon the glory of Narottama Dasa Thakura. As some of you may know, or you may not know, Narottama Dasa Thakura, pretty much most of the knowledge, 90% of the knowledge we have about the Mridanga, its philosophy, its tattva, comes from Narottama Dasa Thakura. Narottama Dasa Thakura being a second generation devotee after Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu. So he's a hero of mine, a very big hero of mine. And if you don't know, so with the Mridanga, there are three main sampradayas or lineages of schools of Mridanga, traditional, that come down in Bengal. And the main one is the Garanhati Sampradaya. Now it's not just for Mridanga, it's about kirtan, kartals, dancing and absorption. Those are the kind of four: Mridanga, kartal, dancing and absorption in Krishna. So the Garanhati Sampradaya is the one that comes from Narottama Dasa Thakura. There are two others, actually three others. There is one called the Manohara something, it goes along that lines. But that comes from Srinivas Prabhu, who is the contemporary or the friend of Narottama Dasa Thakura. And another one is from Shyamananda Prabhu, that is called the Reniti Sampradaya of Kirtan and these arts of Kirtan, Mridanga and all. But as you go down the line, Garanhati onwards, some of these sampradayas, some of the purity of them have been lost over time. But the one that is the most intact and the most still pure is said to be the Garanhati Sampradaya. If you know about Bablu Prabhu, who's the famous Mridanga player, very amazing Mridanga player who's been learning since he was a child, and now he's a senior devotee in Bengal. He is an expert Mridanga player, expert in the art, expert in the philosophy, expert in the tattva of Mridanga, and he comes in the traditional Garanhati Sampradaya. Now in ISKCON, or in the world in general, the whole world, we don't really come in any Sampradaya anymore because it's all kind of mismatched. When Prabhupada came and brought the Mridanga, people didn't follow the traditional beats or the bowls, and still today it's kind of been lost. But that's not something that's completely bad. We can still devote Mridanga playing to Krishna. Anyways, Narottama Dasa Thakura is a huge pioneer for kirtan. Any of the bhajans you know, most likely the bhajans that we know, that we sing, they are written and composed by Narottama Dasa Thakura. And Narottama Dasa Thakura, we all have these kirtan festivals all over the world now. There's one in Dubai, there's one in Radhadesh, there's in America, there's kirtan festival, 24-hour kirtan festivals. And there's a whole festival just for kirtan. Anything else, just kirtan. And people, it's becoming a big thing. Some people, orthodox people, they're saying it's not such a great thing, It's not how we traditionally did it. Some people are saying, no, it's amazing. But Narottama Dasa Thakura was the first person to do organize a kirtan festival, the biggest kirtan festival to ever be known. And it was on Gaura Purnima Day. He's such a hero of so many devotees. Some background I'll give, we can meditate upon. So there is a pastime of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya, when Lord Chaitanya was on the planet, Narottama Dasa Thakura wasn't born yet. Like I said, he's a few generations down. When Lord Chaitanya was in Bengal, he was in a place called Ketari, on his parikrama of the entirety of India. He was going on traveling Sankirtan on the whole of India. And he came to one Padmavati river. And the devotees were there, the Panchatattva were there. And suddenly Lord Chaitanya started weeping and crying out, Narottam, 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 Narottam. The devotees were thinking, who's Narottam? There's no one here in this party. I'm not even sure we know anybody called Narottam. But Lord Chaitanya was crying out the name Narottam, Narottam, Narottam at the river. And Nityananda Prabhu, after some time, asked Lord Chaitanya, who is Narottam? Lord Chaitanya replied with a smile on his face, Narottam. Narottam is the person who is going to re-establish or make prominent this Harinam after me. He will be the next generation. Nityananda Prabhu became very pleased. Okay. But how will he give the world Harinam like you? Lord Chaitanya said, I will give my own love, my own prema to Narottam. How? He's coming in a few. Is he coming now? Is he coming after some time? How will you give? Lord Chaitanya said, I'm going to go to the river soon. And I'm going to give my love. And the Padmavati Devi, the personification of that river, Padmavati Devi, she will give my love. She'll hold on to it for some time. And she'll give my love to Narottam. So there's a whole pastime of Lord Chaitanya going to this river. Padmavati Devi appears. And Lord Chaitanya has this conversation. Narottam will come. And you give this love. You give this love. I'm leaving it with you for some time. You can hold on to it. And Padmavati Devi says, okay. Lord Chaitanya goes. Pastimes continue. The whole of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Charitamrita. After some years, Lord Chaitanya has left the world. And Narottam becomes, he appears. He becomes the prince of Ketari. His mother and father are the king and queen. I think his father's name was Krishna Datta. And his wife was called Narayani Devi. Beautiful names. Krishna Datta and Narayani Devi. And straight off the bat, Narottam, his name was Narottam. And there's so many pastimes, I'm not going to go into detail because I want to focus on one pastime later on in Narottama Thakura's life, Thakur Mahashaya's life. But he becomes a pure devotee. Straight off the bat, he has this inkling, this energy in him, this fire in him to just do Krishna conscious things, associate with the devotees. As a prince, he's learning all these economics, how to lead a kingdom. He's having very nice, a rich upbringing. But his father and mother were obviously very religious, they're very spiritual. So back then the devotees of Mahaprabhu, they would come and they would go to Jagannath Puri. And on the way, they would stop off at Ketari. And the king would serve the devotees. So many devotees would come. And one devotee came. His name was Krishna Das, and he was an associate of Lord Chaitanya. And he would give classes. Narottama Dasa Thakura had such a nice relationship with Krishna Das. Such a nice relationship with Krishna Das that he just wanted to hear from him 24/7. Obviously he could not. Narottam, go and study for this. Narottam, go to bed. His parents would say, And Krishna Das and Narottam, any chance Narottam would get, he would want to hear about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Chaitanya's pastimes and Lord Chaitanya's associates from Krishna Das. And Krishna Das would go into ecstasy just talking about these topics. And little did any of the devotees know, Narottam, the fire of Krishna consciousness, Krishna Bhakti, was leveling up. It was overflowing, how a flood kind of overflows the banks. And Narottam got a dream one night, go to the river Padmavati. And during Narottam's birth, the astrologer had said, there is one thing you should keep, in check with Narottam, make sure he does not go to the river. So the parents would really make sure, up until he was a teenager, they really made sure that he wouldn't go to the river. But he got a dream. He said, go to the river. I think it was Nityananda Prabhu that told him to go. So he went. And he went, and Padmavati Devi appeared. Narottam bathed in the river. Padmavati Devi gave him the same love of Krishna that Lord Chaitanya had. Who can even fathom, who can even understand, try to understand that level of love? Nobody can claim that they have love of Krishna, that of Srimati Radharani. Lord Chaitanya had that. The same love, the same mood of Srimati Radharani, the same love. Narottam had that, the only person. Of course, all of us can get Krishna Prema, but not to that level. Radharani is the best amongst best of devotees of Krishna. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Narada Muni, there's a whole pastime of Narada Muni searching for the best devotee of Krishna. And he goes on a goose chase across the universe, meeting a Brahmana, then a king, then Indra, Brahma, Prahlad Maharaj, Hanuman, the Pandavas, goes deeper and deeper and deeper until he gets to Braj. And the gopis are there. And the best of the gopis. Who are the best of the gopis? The Ashtasakis, the 8. And amongst them, there are a few. And amongst those few, there is Radharani. Narottama Dasa Thakura got that love. And his life completely changed. He went into ecstasy. He went unconscious at the banks of the Padmavati river. And the parents, they got worried because Narottam wasn't in his bed, he wasn't in his room, he was nowhere in the palace. So they searched out for Narottam everywhere. They got their guards and everyone to go searching for Narottam. They found him at the bank of the river. And he was completely changed. For some reason, before his skin color was a little darkish, but now it was golden. Now it was golden. They even noticed, Narottam, what's happened to you, to how you look? You look different. Something about you is different. You're glowing. Similarly, how Krishna becomes Lord Chaitanya, he's only golden because he's taking the mood of Srimati Radharani. So similarly, how Narottam does, he gets that love, he also becomes golden. Anyways, then Narottam can't hold himself. Who can hold that much prem? Who can hold that much love for Krishna? It has to burst. It has to explode. So Narottam would continuously cry. He would jump up and down, dance in ecstasy. He just couldn't hold himself like a madman does. We are mad. That's what a devotee is. And he became mad for Krishna. Then what happened? The parents, they thought, okay, how to keep him at home, because he's just talking about going to Vrindavan and seeing the Goswamis. That was Narottama's biggest goal in his life. Just go and see the associates of Lord Chaitanya, the Goswamis of Vrindavan. And he escaped home. Especially when his parents said we should get him married. That'll keep him here and keep him as the prince. So he escaped home. There's a whole story. And mind you, he's a teenager at this time. He's about 14, 15 years old, they say. And he escapes home and he walks all the way from Ketari to Vrindavan. There are many pastimes on the way, and there's many pastimes I've skipped over. But like I said, it's just, we have to get to the point, the topic we want to speak about. He goes to Vrindavan. He meets the Goswamis. Some sadness is there because Rupa and Sanatan, the head of the Goswamis, Sanatan Goswami, the guru of all of Vrindavan, and Rupa Goswami, we are Rupanugas. We follow Rupa Goswami. That is us as in our line. They are gone. They've left the planet. Lokanath Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and a few other devotees are left in Vrindavan. So all is not lost. And he stays in Vrindavan. He studies under Jiva Goswami. He takes initiation from Lokanath Goswami. Again, I'm paraphrasing. There's so much amazing pastimes in these. But he learns for many years. And then the Goswamis of Vrindavan, they say, all right, you've learnt. Now go out. Go out and share. Take the Goswamis' books and spread the word of Lord Chaitanya all over India. So the musketeers, the three musketeers, Narottama Dasa Thakura, Srinivasacharya, and Shyamananda Prabhu. These three best of friends and most pure of devotees, the second generation of devotees. They went out together and they dispersed after some time. They went to different places. Some of them went to Orissa, around Jagannath Puri, and preached there. And now today you see many devotees, Gaudiya, Vaishnavas, who are descendants of those devotees. They cover different bases. The reason I like this so much is because sometimes, I don't know if it's just me, I don't know, it might just be me. But sometimes I also see other devotees and myself, we become disheartened because I wish, hearing about the pastimes of the devotees during Prabhupada's time, I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have seen Prabhupada. I wish I could have gone on the adventures that the Prabhupada disciples had gone on. I wish I could have been part of that energy. Because, let's be honest, nowadays is not the same. It's not the same as you hear. It's like an adventure. It's like a storybook that you tell to your kids, that happened. All right, sure that happened. Of course it did happen. But still, to see is to believe sometimes, to experience it ourselves. And I see a parallel. If I was in that time of Narottama Dasa Thakura, I would be probably feeling the same as Narottama Dasa Thakura was feeling. How come, he would lament himself, he would cry, how come I've been born so late? You have to kind of put yourself in his boots, even though he didn't wear shoes. Living at that time, crying, I missed the opportunity to meet Rupa and Sanatan Goswami and so many other Goswamis. So many devotees of Mahaprabhu, direct associates of Mahaprabhu. I wish I could have been there. He was hearing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and his associates. We are hearing the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada and Prabhupada's disciples. That's more recent. But can you imagine the sadness, the FOMO, spiritual FOMO, fear of missing out? But then Narottama Dasa Thakura and these devotees, they give me a little bit of hope because they latched onto that same energy, even being second generation devotees. They were not there during that massive wave of Krishna consciousness during Mahaprabhu's time. Actually, at the time, what had happened, after Mahaprabhu had left, many of the devotees, they went into such a ecstatic mood of separation from Mahaprabhu. Navadvip, Ekachakra, it became like a ghost town. Devotees dispersed in different places in such separation of Mahaprabhu. He's gone. We're only going to see him after we leave our body now. So I see a parallel a little bit. If Narottama Dasa Thakura, if these devotees could latch onto that same energy of that wave of Krishna bhakti, devotion, then maybe we can latch onto that wave during Prabhupada's time as well. It's possible. We don't have to be a first generation devotee. We can be a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation devotee and still latch on to that same energy, that same adventure. It's possible. Definitely it's possible. And sometimes even today you'll see some devotees around the world that have that same mood, same energy. And they've never met Prabhupada, barely had any association with Prabhupada's disciples. But somehow they have that energy. In the youth, I'm in the UK, and some of the youth in the UK, they have that same energy. In London, in Manchester, Birmingham, Leicester. Anyways, so Narottama Dasa Thakura, Shyamananda, Srinivas, they've gone. There's so many stories during that time as well. The books got lost. They lost all the books. And it was recovered. So I'll just fast forward. Narottam went to Ketari after some time. He went to the different holy places where Mahaprabhu had stayed. He even went to Navadvip, Mayapur. But after some time, he went back to Ketari. Imagine going back. He just left being the prince. He was the only child of his father and mother, the heir of the throne. But he left. So the king, there are many pastimes, different dealings. He went to Ketari, he went somewhere else, and he came back to Ketari. And this time he had no interest in being the prince still. He came back and the throne had gone to his cousin. I forgot his cousin's name, and I think I might have switched his cousin's name and his father's name. I'm not sure. If I have, I'm not sure. Let me check now. With the help of Google Maharaj. Yeah, his father's called Krishnananda Dutt, and his cousin was called Santosh Datta. Yes. So he came back to Ketari, and Santosh Dutt was the king now. He even offered Narottam the throne. I don't want the throne, you should have the throne. But he said, no. I am happy to have my own bhajan kutir here. Many of the devotees, they became actually all around Ketari and all neighboring areas. Narottam became the guru of all of those areas. So many of them taking initiation from Narottama Dasa Thakura, he became the Acharya. And there are many pastimes leading up to this, but again, I'll paraphrase. As I said, many or practically all of the associates of Mahaprabhu had dispersed all over India in complete separation. And it was the desire of the devotees and Narottam that we should unite all of the devotees again. Right now, the Krishna conscious wave across the world, it's slowed down. Or maybe it's even stopped. Nobody's preaching. Nobody's going out. And we're not united. Everyone's in different places. Let us unite now. How can we unite? So they had the idea. Narottam had the idea. Invite all of the devotees, all across India, all of the Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, all of the Gaura Bhaktas, devotees of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And for Gaura Purnima, let us celebrate Gaura Purnima, the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya, all together with a huge kirtan festival. Up till now, Gaura Purnima had never been celebrated. Can you imagine? Many decades, Gaura Purnima had never been celebrated. Maybe small, maybe in some people's home they would remember Mahaprabhu, do some extra sadhana, do a few rounds, more rounds, offer an offering to Mahaprabhu in their own homes. But nobody had the festival mood like we do today, for Gaura Purnima. So they thought, let's do it. And even Santosh Datta had become the disciple of Narottama Dasa Thakura. So Santosh said, Gurudev, cousin, let's do it. I will cover all of the finances. Let's do it. Narottam got this newfound energy in him. He said, let's do it. So they started inviting. They sent out invitations to all of the devotees all over India, not just Orissa and Bengal, all over India. Because if you remember, Mahaprabhu, he did a tour of all over India. There's a path he went down through Bengal, through Jagannath Puri, all the way down to South India, then back up to Maharashtra, back through Vrindavan, and then back. So, and there were devotees there, even in South India. My friend, he sent me a video and he was telling me, in South India, I think it's Srirangam, I'm not sure, but there are Gaudiya Vaishnavas that aren't affiliated with any Gaudiya Math or ISKCON or society. They just have been associated with the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And if you look at their style of kirtan, they do kirtan there. And they dance. And it's similar to that of the Gaudiyas. Maybe I'll put it on the screen. Maybe I'll share the video. But they dance. His Grace Kripa Mahaprabhu once shared that he went to some village somewhere in India, in a random remote place. And he went there. And he noticed in the morning, all of these villages, tribal villages by the way, in the morning they would all chant Hare Krishna, the full Mahamantra. They'd sing it. And he's thinking, how has this happened? So he asked the devotees, the villagers there, how come you're singing this? Where has this come from, this tradition of yours? They said, we just do it. Okay, but what's the origin of this? Where did this come from for you guys? Said, you'll have to ask the elder. And they went to the elder in the village. And they asked. And the elder said, many hundreds of years ago, someone came. Many devotees came. And they told us, if you chant this Hare Krishna every day before breakfast, your life will be sublime. And we've been doing it. And our life is great. We don't know exactly the philosophies and the ins and outs and the intricacies of it, but we do it and we feel great. So you never know where Mahaprabhu, the level of output of this Harinam Mahaprabhu has sent. Has it gone to? So yeah, all of the devotees, they were invited. And at the time, the most senior, topmost acharya of the entire Gaudiya Vaishnava movement in all of the world at the time was Janava Mata, the wife of Nityananda Prabhu. Yeah. She was the acharya, the most pure devotee. So they invited her as the VIP guest. And they all went by foot. Thousands of devotees, all of India, on foot. And it's explained, Janava Mata, her party, when they were walking on the way to Khitari, any village they passed by, they were doing Harinam the entire way there, by the way. They were doing a big kirtan on the way there. And as they passed by villages, the villagers became devotees. And because they became devotees, they joined in and they started coming towards Khitari. And then they go to another village, they'd pass by another village, and they became devotees. And they joined the party and they started coming to Khitari. So that as Janava Mata was going with all the devotees, more and more devotees were joining with them and they were all going to Khitari. So it wasn't just the devotees of Mahaprabhu's time. The devotees that had just been devotees for the last day or two, week or two, they started coming. Everybody gets connected to this movement. We should not think that just those initiated are those in this movement. I mean, that's true. That is if you want to put a fine line on it, right, you're in the movement now, you're connected to Krishna. It's a formal thing. The formal connection. But in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when it's explained of the Chaitanya tree, the Chaitanya tree means all of the lineages coming from Mahaprabhu, from Nityananda Prabhu. There are branches, The trunk is Lord Chaitanya. And Nityananda Prabhu is one branch, these Goswamis are this branch, this devotee is this branch, this devotee. There's many devotees, not just the Panchatattva and the Goswami, many devotees. And Srila Prabhupada said ISKCON is one of those branches. But in the translation of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'm not sure which verse, but it's definitely there. It is said that those people within this tree are the devotees and what is the word used? Admirers. Devotees and admirers. The admirers of the Krishna conscious movement are also in the Krishna conscious movement. That's so generous. If you just think you're on a Harinam in a random city, anybody looks from their window and they see the Harinam and they think, fair enough, that's quite cool. Fair enough, they're having fun, they're admiring. Somehow the seed of devotion has been planted. We know that if they hear the holy name, the seed of devotion has been planted, whether you like it or not. Something is there. It'll grow. Maybe not in this lifetime, maybe in this lifetime, but it's there. You've started your spiritual life. But if you just admire, you're in the movement. You may not know or not. So, similarly, because in the association of the devotees, the tree of devotion, the seed of devotion, grows quicker. And in the presence of Janava Mata, who is one of the most purest souls of the entire movement, that seed grows very quickly. So these admirers from their houses in these villages, They admired the kirtan. And because the kirtan was so pure, and Krishna was there, present, their tree of their devotion, the Bhakti Lata Bij, grew like that. And they joined in the kirtan. And they became devotees. And they joined all the devotees for the first ever Gaura Purnima celebration. So this was happening. Preparations were underway. Devotees were heading towards Ketari. Narottama was organizing. Now, one fun fact, the majority of the Narottama Dasa Thakura bhajans that you've ever heard or written, or it's not written, but heard and sung and read, majority of them were written just for this festival. It is written. The majority were written. Narottama Dasa Thakura was there, working hard day and night in his deep bhajan, meditation, thinking about how to glorify Lord Chaitanya, Krishna, Radharani, and the devotees. Mm-hmm. Where was I? Yeah. So the preparation was underway. Narottama Dasa Thakura was working day and night, meditating and writing these bhajans. He was training up Mridanga players, Kartal players and Kirtaniyas. And when he was composing these bhajans and he was composing this style of kirtan, now Narottama Dasa Thakura's style of kirtan is very different to the traditional before Narottama's time. Because he was in Vrindavan and he is also from Bengal, he mixed the two styles of Vrindavan kirtan and Bengali style kirtan, and he mixed it together. And the style of bhajan that he created from the mix are the bhajans that he wrote and the kirtans that he performed. He was a genius in this way. There's a whole pastime of many deities were carved. I think 7 Krishna deities were carved for this festival to be installed. And a deity of Mahaprabhu was to be carved. But when all the stapatis, the carvers of these deities, they were coming and showing Narottama Dasa Thakura, he would always think, this is a little bit off. It's not really to my meditation, to my liking, how I see Mahaprabhu. It's not perfect. I want it to be perfect. Narottama Dasa Thakura was a little bit of a perfectionist. It must be perfect. Nose is a little bit off. Eyes are a little bit off. This is not how he looks. I want it to look perfect. Mahaprabhu came in his dream and he said, the deity you are looking for, I'm already here. You go into this rice paddy, not rice paddy, this little hut where they harvest and they put the rice, and I'm there waiting. And Narottama went there. And the devotees, the residents of Ketari, were warning Narottama, please, Gurudev, he's the guru of the entire place, Gurudev, please don't go in there. There are snakes everywhere there. You'll get bitten, it's dangerous. Don't go in there. He said, no, you will see, you will see. He didn't mention, you will see. And he went inside. It said that many hundreds of snakes were slithering out of there once he went in. And he went. And he went. And he came out with a golden deity of Lord Chaitanya. Self-manifested deity. And it's still there in, I think, Ketari or somewhere in Bengal. I've heard it's still there. And it was made of gold, this deity. Self-manifested. Golden. And he said this was perfect. It looks exactly like Mahaprabhu. Now, I've never seen this deity, but I hear stories of this deity, of devotees that have seen the deity. Recent. I'd like to go one day. Once all this conflict has ended in Bangladesh and everywhere, we may go. Anyways, Narottama Dasa Thakura was training up kirtaniyas. Devotees had started coming. Devotees had started coming. Everybody was meeting each other again. How are you doing? It's been so many years. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Janava Mata had come. The Kirtan festival was about to start. Abhisheks were going on. Abhisheks, wonderful kirtans were there. And then, the main part of the entire festival, Narottama Dasa Thakura was going to sing. Everybody was in anticipation. Narottama Dasa Thakura gets onto the stage. His main Mridanga players that he has trained up himself, and the best of the Mridanga players, his name was Devi Das. And Devi Das was the main Mridanga player for Narottama Dasa Thakura at this time. Devi Das was playing. Narottama Dasa Thakura, there is a silence. Kartal players are there on the stage. Wampas are there. Oh, in Bengal they call Jaja. That's what they call Wampas. They're ready. And this style of kirtan that we have today, where it goes slow to medium to fast, this was created by Narottama Dasa Thakura. Before then, it wasn't like that. Narottama Dasa Thakura started this, and this became the norm. Now it's the norm for us. So he started slowly. He sung about Mahaprabhu. He sung about Radha and Krishna. He sung about the devotees, Vaishnava Thakur. He's speaking about all the devotees, glorifying them. Devotees were going into ecstasy. Janava Mata was crying. And so, yeah, where was I? So, yeah, everybody was on the edge of their seat to hear Narottam sing. Sorry, I had already gone past that. Everybody was listening to Narottam singing about Krishna, about Lord Chaitanya, about the Vaishnavas, about Radha, Rani. And they were all captivated. Nobody could think of anything else. Grand festivities were going on. This was the first Gaura Purnima celebration. So much was going on. The devotees were in ecstasy, new and old devotees. Now it's described at the crescendo of the kirtan. At the crescendo of the kirtan, Lord Chaitanya and the devotees, associates of Lord Chaitanya that had already left the world, had appeared in the kirtan, dancing. Narottama Dasa Thakura, whilst he was singing, was witnessing this. And he couldn't believe it. He thought, maybe I'm daydreaming. Maybe I'm the only one that sees. Maybe he's not there. So Narottama Dasa Thakura put his hand out to touch Lord Chaitanya. He was that close, dancing with Narottama Dasa Thakura. And he touched him. Lord Chaitanya was actually there. The devotees were actually there. They had descended from the purity of the kirtan. Everybody's absorption in Lord Chaitanya was so high. Everybody's absorption in the entire kirtan. Nobody was chatting. Nobody was, when's prasadam? Everybody was fully concentrated in complete absorption of Gauranga, that he appeared with the devotees. Then the kirtan went even more, just even more. There's no words to describe it. It went even bigger. The kirtan, the Mridanga players were playing harder. They were playing bigger beats. They were going into ecstasy. The kartal players were going into ecstasy. You could hear more kartal. You could hear more wampers. You could hear more singing. Everybody was going, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Gauranga, Gaura Hari, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And everybody started dancing. Everybody got up and they started dancing. Janava Mata, all the devotees. The Panchatattva also there. Srivas Thakur, who was in the Panchatattva, his brother was there. And he saw his brother after so long. He had left the world, Srivas Thakur. His brother was there and he met him and he started dancing with him. Advaita Acharya, his sons, his children were there in the kirtan. And they saw their father for the first time after so long after he had left this world. And they had started dancing and they were embracing. And Janava Mata, Mother Janava Thakurani, she saw her beloved husband, Nityananda Prabhu, for the first time in so long. And she was going into ecstasy crying. Lord Nityananda, who is Lord Balaram himself. She saw him. And everybody had this amazing, transcendental, spiritual reunion with the Lord and his devotees. Narottama Dasa Thakura started getting up and dancing. And they were all in their different parties. And they were dancing. Narottama Dasa Thakura was dancing with Lord Chaitanya, Advaita Acharya with his sons and some devotees. And devotees were in the different parties. It was just complete ecstasy. I am not even qualified to describe such things. It was more than anybody could even describe, and that I can describe. So what do we learn from this? When all the devotees, complete absorption is so strong in Lord Chaitanya, then he comes personally. It is guaranteed. It is guaranteed. He's already there in our life, guiding us and present in our life. But he comes personally when all the devotees are absorbed in him. This idea of uniting the devotees is one that I like. 2 years ago, we had in our local temple here, we had the installation of a Prabhupada deity in our temple. And we wanted to make it a wonderful festival. Maybe in a different video I'll talk more about the pastimes of that festival. It was beautiful. My favorite festival out of all the Vaishnava festivals are deity installations. Whether it's Krishna, Gauranitai, Radharani, or Prabhupada, or Acharyas, I like it. I think that's, for me, those are the sweetest festivals that anybody can ever experience. More than Janmashtami, Gaur Purnima, for me. I don't know if that's wrong of me to say, but it's true. Because the devotees in those temples who have been serving there for so long, finally the Lord appears before them, and that becomes their deity. The Lord becomes theirs. He is owned by us. And we are owned by Him. And we have our own space to congregationally serve Him. So we had a Prabhupada installation, a life-size Murti installation 2 years ago. And this event in Narottama Dasa Thakur's Leela is nice because it's uniting those associates of Mahaprabhu. In a similar way, I've been kind of thinking that how nice would it be to unite all of Prabhupada's associates as well. Of course, he's not Krishna, but he is the wave. Lord Chaitanya came as he's Krishna, and he brought a wave. Narottama Dasa Thakura brought a second wave. Bhaktivinoda Thakur brought another wave. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur brought an even bigger wave. And Srila Prabhupada brought a tidal wave. And to be there in that tidal wave, like I said, to be during that spreading, during that time is nice. It's nice to think that how I wish I could be there. So similarly, it seems now that many of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, they've dispersed, gone in different areas. In, I wouldn't say a similar mood, but something can be poetically, related to that. How nice would it be to unite all of them again like this? When we had our Prabhupada installation, it felt a little bit like that. We had around 5 or 6 Srila Prabhupada disciples from different parts of the UK to come. And we organized the festival in such a way that we tried, I'm not saying we did it, but we tried to emulate that same energy during Prabhupada's time. To give those Prabhupada disciples a sense of nostalgia. That this energy is still there. It's not completely changed the movement. So, we should try and do this even more. Bhurijan Prabhu has said that this is going to be the decade of tears, because many Prabhupada disciples will leave the planet. They are every year. So we have to try and get their mercy as much as possible to carry on the mission of Lord Chaitanya and the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Guru Gauranga. Yeah. One day I'll talk about that festival. There's so many pastimes in them. Prabhupada disciples crying over how nice it is, and different pastimes of boys sleeping in the temple, and it's freezing cold by the radiators, and showering under a hose in the freezing cold. So many nice pastimes are there. But another day. And one other meditation I've had, I will share, is that if all the devotees work as a team to completely absorb themselves in Krishna Bhakti, then Krishna comes. Krishna will become present in your life, just individually. If one person, yourself, ourself, just absorbs ourselves in Krishna so much, if we give him 100%, then he'll give us 100% and be present in our life more. But what if all of the devotees within a community give 100%? How much will Krishna give then of himself? We can't expect Krishna to give 100% if we give him part-time of ourselves. But what if we give all 100% and we work together? So, just like how all the devotees in the Narottama Dasa Thakura's Gaur Purnima festival, they gave 100% of their absorption in Gauranga. Gauranga came. So what if we all together work within your own communities, within our own communities, in our small and big communities, all absorb ourselves in Krishna? He may come himself in a different way, in a deity form. So it's a congregation's collective responsibility to absorb themselves if they want Krishna, Gauranga, Radharani, Guru to come and be present, it'll be nice. Anyways, that end bit might have been a bit of waffle for myself. But this is the first video, first meditation on Narottama Dasa Thakura. Hare Krishna. Narottama Dasa Thakura ki jai. Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. Janava Mata ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sham. Hare Krishna.